one of the bigger, SLP balancing mechanisms will be NFT runes and charms. And for us to implement that, we need to make sure Origin is in a good place. We need to make sure the crafting system is working and there aren't exploits and people can't, there's the whole moonshard glitch, right? And sorry, uh, Arctic was calling me. Oh,
Oh, hi,
interesting.
Arctic.
So we have to make sure, that whole system um, is in a good place before we add in NFTs and an SLP and all these things, right? Because we know it's very sensitive. Like once you put those things in, it can have a big impact. If there is an exploit of how people can craft, now you have, an inflation of this NFT. And so we just need to go through that process. And then also for Origin, if the game isn't fun, are people going to want to craft these? And so we need to make sure the game is fun first. And
Welcome back everybody to Ronin Daily. My name is Theo. I hope you have a wonderful day, healthy and strong in this bear market. I do care for all of you because I know how it feels. Alright, we will discuss about recent Axie Chat. Check the timestamp below, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We drop one video every day keeping you informed. Smash that like button if you appreciate what we do. Product lead of Axie Infinity, the game changer, Phillip LA, has just given his updated idea and planning on the Axie Infinity economy SLP balancing. Listen to his thought, then we'll review.
I feel like I get asked on a daily basis, and I'm sure you guys do as well.
yeah.
What is the timeline, or the question is always, why don't you care about balancing the SLP economy? And I think really that comes down to more timeline, because everybody knows you've got all these things coming, all these burn mechanisms or spending, ways to spend it. And I just want to clarify, like, is the thought process like, hey, we need to open the bridge first, because otherwise nobody can spend anything, right? You can't get money on the chain. Then we need to make sure Origin is good enough to launch. Then we need to get Origin on, the various mobile stores. Then we need to, integrate all this stuff. Is that kind of the pathway that you see ahead of you?
Yeah, there's a critical path towards each of these, right? And the one of the bigger SLP balancing mechanisms will be NFT runes and charms. And for us to implement that, we need to make sure Origin is in a good place. We need to make sure the crafting system is working and there aren't exploits and people can't, there's the whole moonshard glitch, right? And sorry, uh, Arctic was calling me. Oh,
Oh, hi,
interesting.
Arctic.
So we have to make sure, that whole system um, is in a good place before we add in NFTs and an SLP and all these things, right? Because we know it's very sensitive. Like once you put those things in, it can have a big impact. If there is an exploit of how people can craft, now you have, an inflation of this NFT. And so we just need to go through that process. And then also for Origin, if the game isn't fun, are people going to want to craft these? And so we need to make sure the game is fun first. And so, there's all these considerations and prerequisites we need before we build out these things. And then building itself is its own process, right? So, people look at the game and they're like, why can't you just ship all of this tomorrow? And a lot goes into it. And, people who have worked on games or even worked on any complex software product know there has to be the design phase. We looking at every individual feature from crafting to how we're going to introduce SLP and NFT charms and runes. There's so many edge cases. We have to think about how this is going to affect the marketplace, how it's going to affect the game, how it's going to impact a lot of the balancing. How do we make sure a balance against pay to win and making sure that people can progress, even if they don't spend as much to be able to be competitive. All those things are things we have to do in the design, and then actually on the building side, the engineers have to take quite a bit of time to code this stuff up. I'm not an engineer, but I've tried. I've done a little bit of coding, and it's the little bit I did, I was like, this is super hard.
Yeah.
And so obviously this is much more complex. It's touching many systems. And then we have to go through QA, and QA takes time too. Like, and as we catch things in QA, we got to fix them. And so, we have to go through these processes, and they just take time, and that's how, uh, game development works. And I think it's fine. Like, not everyone has made a game before, understands that whole process. And so, yeah, a big part for me is just helping with education and, telling people, um, what we're working on, and how, we are pushing for a lot of these things, even though it feels like, a couple months out or a few months out, or whatever it is. Like, that's not that long in software development time. And, the fact that we've been pushing out weekly updates, and now we're going to bi-weekly to not, burn out the team, is really important for us to show.
Wow, that's a lot of progress to balancing SLP. Let's unpack this. So, if you ask why Axie Infinity team takes so much time on balancing SLP. 1. Runes and charms have big role on balancing SLP, make sure crafting system is working and aren't exploit. 2. If everybody can craft, the inflation of runes and charm NFT will appear. 3. Make sure Axie Infinity Origin fun to play. 4. Can't make it happen in overnight. Axie Infinity need to build the design, animation, code, connecting to the blockchain, and make sure everything in sync. 5. Making the game more competitive. 6. Have to go to quality assurance to make sure everything works as the plan. The fun part is bias. Alexander discuss about it on Twitter, but some people against it. What is fun, by the way? How to measure it? Let's see what Phillip LA, Baroner and Enjoy Crypto thought about fun.
Question, like, how do you guys measure what is fun?
Yeah, fun is this, somewhat ambiguous term that encompasses, something different for everyone, right? And some people just love progressing. In gaming we have kind of in the theory side a lot of different, player archetypes, of what people, really get enjoyment out of, and feel basically, emotional value from, when they play games, right? Whether that be, collecting things that they find valuable, or defeating others, or just socializing a game. And all those things are kind of under the umbrella of fun, right? So it's different for everyone. And yeah, I think no game is going to cater to everyone.
Right.
And obviously we want to make a lot of different ones, but for Origin specifically, which is obviously the main game out right now, it's not going to be the game for everyone. It's a very specific genre. But yeah, I think I agree with everything Alex says here, in that the focus is to tackle this larger market, and creating games that are more accessible, and easy to get into, that really have that depth. And I think when he says fun enough, I think people are definitely running with that term specifically, it seems like. And uh, from what I agree with it, in terms of like how I understand it. And I think when he says fun enough, and I think he clarified as well, fun enough is as fun as the best mobile games, in the App Store. And that's not easy, to be able to be on the top charts in the App Store. You are a very, very fun game. And so that is kind of the bar. But I think, the fun enough terminology can be interpreted in different ways by different people. But, we are trying to be, that level of game with, the added benefit of, digital assets that are, ownable and tradable, and all of that. And so the whole idea is, if you have something that fun and you layer on kind of this value that is huge on its own, then in itself, that's a 0 to 1 kind of value that you're creating. And so that totally makes sense to me.
Well,
And
I mean, the history of Axie, right? Sorry to jump in on you, but the history of Axie tells us that like fun enough is real. Like in the sense of, if people have a way of earning tokens, and the market decides whether those tokens have value or not. If people have a way of earning tokens as part of the game, then literally millions of people will come if it's fun enough, right? At least that's kind of what I took from this is, I would imagine if you could basically clone Clash of Clans, for example, because I played various high stakes kingdom
Hmm.
fighting mobile games, but I never owned a single asset in that. Well, my account, I guess, held it, but it wasn't transferable. I couldn't exit from that in an easy way without violating terms of service or potentially
Hmm.
creating a security issue
Exactly.
by trading an account or something like that. So,
Hmm.
so to me, having tradable, ownable assets is 100 times improvement from the
Yeah.
Web 2 system. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think that it's always wise to have a goal to be as fun as the biggest mobile games out there. But I do
Hmm.
feel that there's a secret sauce, or it's not really even necessarily that secret because we already saw what happened last year when people really like it, and that is the potential of. I mean, you talked about this, so I'm kind of hesitating a little bit on the play to earn lingo, and you kind of talked about play and earn, and then play and own, and all of those
Yeah.
things I think make sense to me. I do feel though that we're still in a space, and Axie specifically kind of still maybe needs to or should embrace the play to earn for right now. It seems like that's what's going to likely bring lots of attention to Axie Infinity moving forward, as we transition to more maturity, a more mature game where it's not just about what token can I get, what tokens can I have and possess, but really how powerful can I be, how strong can my how much can I build my axes, where can I go from there. So I guess to me, I really like what you're saying philosophically. I think it helps, but I mean, you recognize, right, that at least I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. That we're still a play to earn game, ultimately, and that's something that it's not going away tomorrow.
What do you think? Do you agree? Finally, the last thought of Phillip LA on this video that makes me interesting is this. Essentially, the term is setting the wrong expectations. At Axie Infinity we have shifted to play and earn, but I personally still prefer play and own, as I mentioned way back in September 2021, long before I joined Sky Mavis. I believe it expresses the unique value blockchain games provide while not creating unrealistic expectations. That's it for the video today. Do you believe Axie Infinity will back to their throne and the economic will be balance? Let me know your thoughts about the game and SLP in the comment section below. My name Theo. See you tomorrow friends.